Hello everyone, welcome to online open day for Bachelor's in Urban Design program at CEPT University. Today we are going to talk about our program, which is Bachelor's in Urban Design program, which is the only program in the country which teaches urban design at an undergraduate level. My name is Narendra Mangwani. I am the program chair for BUD program. I am an architect and urban designer practicing in Ahmedabad. Talking about this program, it's a unique curriculum that we have designed to talk about cities at an undergraduate level. The program is a 5-year program where it is further divided into first year, which is the common foundation program. The first year is a common program with students of architecture, students of construction and technology, students of bachelors in design, and students of bachelors in urban design. So the first year is common with all these four programs. After first year, we have second year and third year, which we call L2 level, where the primarily focus of L2 studios is to talk about basic skills building exercises for the urban design, and the fourth and fifth year are called L3 level studios, where the idea is to have your own question and your approach towards designing of the city. So once you graduate as an urban designer from Bachelor's in Urban Design program here at CEPT, you can very well work in lot of urban design planning practices in India and abroad, and also you can do your post graduation in Masters in Urban Design, Masters in Planning, Masters in Landscape, and various programs which deal with built environment. The curriculum also includes internship program at L3 level. So in your fourth and fifth year, you have to do 6 semesters of internship program, followed with 10th semester where you can look at DRP, which is Directed Research Program, and along with our exchange seats that we have with other universities. So that is the overall curriculum. So today we are going to look at some of the examples of the L2 level studios and L3 level studios. So we have students with us who will take us through their program. So please come with me, I'll take you to the studios. So the studios are the primary teaching method that we follow here at CEPT, which is a unit of 12 to 15 students with one tutor or a dual tutor, and these studios are very hands-on. So we believe in learning by doing things. So for example, this is one L2 studio which talks about redefining urban livelihoods. This studio particularly focuses on designing of markets. So we have taken site in Ahmedabad, we've taken 3 sites, and students also went to Delhi to look at how markets are designed and how do these markets actually functions, because markets are very important part of our city, and it is the urban designer who can look at these markets and design them. So with us we have Ishita. Hi Ishita.
Hello.
So you are looking at one of the site. So you have 3 sites, right?
Yes.
Motera, Vasna and Gatlodia in Ahmedabad. So I think your site is Motera. So can you briefly tell us that what was your idea behind the project while designing this?
So when we asked about the vendors and shoppers about their challenges faced in the market, so they said that the waste is generated and is cleared only in the morning.
Okay.
So the whole day the waste accumulated. So to tackle this, I prepared I tried to design a waste management with a on-site composting units,
Okay.
and it can be used for the landscaping area,
Okay.
and the vegetable garden.
Okay.
Since my site is very near to Narendra Modi Stadium, I thought of adding a public space which can be used during those major events like 2023 Cricket World Cup Finals and the upcoming Coldplay concert.
Okay.
So I joined the market from the pedestrian ramp from the ground floor to the first floor, where I created a cafe and vegetable market.
Okay, so now it is not just the vegetable market that you're talking about, so it has also as a layer of public space. So you have a cafe and you have areas for people to come in.
Yes.
So So that's the kind of studio that we do. Here are more examples of the kind of work that the students present. They also went to Delhi and did the case studies. They studied Chandni Chowk, Janpath Market, and these are the kind of drawings that we make in the studio. This is site number 1, which is Vasana. So you can look at the overall context where the market is and where the students redesign them. This is the site of Gatlodia. Here the market typology is street, because many of our vegetable markets are on the street, where the street is not just for cars to move, but it is also for the markets to happen. So we are looking at how can we look at these streets to design them. And this is the Motera site which Ishita was talking about. So that's the corner plot where the vegetable market happens and is happening, yes. And these are some of the photographs from the process of the studio. So there is a lot of interaction within the students, and we have a lot of professionals who come at regular intervals to give us feedback on the kind of projects that we are doing. Coming to another studio, this studio focuses on the design of built form. So we are looking at buildings, and as an urban designer, what is the role that we would like to play when we talk of the built environment. So here the students have taken site on Ashram Road, where we are looking at a precinct here in Ashram Road. The students are looking at the existing build form. They studied the GDCR and did scenario building, that if the buildings were to go under redevelopment, what is the kind of build form that would generate. And then each of them takes up one of the cluster of buildings there, and looking at the original private ownership of this, they come up with their idea that what should be the kind of build form that one is to talking about. So the idea of front margin, the idea of podium and a tower, and the kind of public realm that could be created inside. So we have here is the student who is part of this studio. Hi, Hiri.
Hello.
So can you briefly explain us your ideas behind designing of the build form here?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, our site was in Ashram Road, and the plot which I had was right opposite to riverfront.
Okay.
So basically, I had a strategy that I wanted to give all the buildings a view, that a river view should be given to all of them.
Okay.
So I calculated FSI, and I tried that the first row of the buildings should be in a way that they are a little bit smaller than the buildings that are at the back, which I have shown here. We can see that they are facing a little bit higher.
Okay.
And all of them have a river facing view. And I also gave the public spaces at the top, and I made a special ellipse that directly goes to the public spaces.
Okay.
So that all of them can have a view. And basically I also created a space for the vendors between all the buildings.
Okay.
So that they are particularly at that space.
So you are saying that within this private buildings there is also a public space,
yeah,
which is accessible to common man.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Here. This is another studio where the focus is children. So this is a global question that is evolving, that are our cities safe for children? So this particular studio, which is called Live, Learn and Play, it's a child-centric urban spaces that we're talking about. And we've taken site of Navrang School, which is in the Navrangpura area of Ahmedabad, where the project question is to make spaces which are children friendly and safe for the children. So these are the school going students, and we did interactive workshops with them to talk about how can we create better spaces for the children and safe spaces for them in the city. We come to another L2 level studio. We call it Theatre of Streets, because in Indian context, as I said, that streets are not only for cars and automobile, they are also for the people, right? So that is where the studio talks about how can we look at streets as theatre of human performances. And this particular studio has taken up the site behind the Juma Masjid. This is in the old city of Ahmedabad, as you all know, as many of you would know. And we are looking at the street from the fruit market towards the Raja no Hajiro and Rani no Hajiro. So that's the context where the studio is situated. So this is Jumma Mosque, this is Raja no Hajiro, and this is Rani no Hajiro, and that's the fruit market. So that's the particular street which the students have taken, and they have documented all the activities of parking, vending, shopping. It's a very busy street, and with the heritage tag, we are looking at how can we redesign the street, make it we define the driveway, we talk about movement of the vehicles, but at the same time we want the street to be very safe for the people to walk in, because it's a very busy shopping street that is there. So that's the studio which talks about street design. Now we move forward to another studio which is very interesting and very unique. This particular studio is about generative technique. So in this today's modern world where we are also looking at data and software, use of software in design. So this particular studio uses the idea of generative techniques. So how can we use software and computational methods to derive designs? So this is a unique studio that we are currently doing, which looks at the design of neighborhood through computational method. This is another L2 level studio where the idea is to look at landscape in ecology to design public spaces. So it's called public space design, the ecological approach. So here the problem is set that how can we design better public spaces using landscape in ecology as a tool and an underlying layer. So the students look at how does water moves in the city, the study of contour, the study of rain, etc. They look at the hydrology, they look at the flora fauna of the site, and that's the fantastic studio which looks at ecology and landscape as a layer. So these studios that we saw are the L2 level studios. So all the students are part of second year and third year. So we have 6 such studios which we offered this semester. So these are second year and third year students. So now I'll take you to the 4th and 5th year students, which we call them L3 level studios, where the site is more complex. The approaches are complex, where the students are looking at various parameters to design the public spaces and regulate the private spaces. So I'll take you through the 5 studios that we offered this time. As I said, we have a choice-based curriculum. So the students are free to choose from the offered studios based on their interest of the subject and the site. So this particular studio looks at the idea of circular economy and climate change. So this studio looks at a community in Ahmedabad, and they look at water system, waste management system, streets and open spaces and health and welfare of that community, where we have a lot of community engagement and community consultation. They work with the community. We have constant feedback with the community to understand their real problems and come up with possible solutions. So we have Tanay with us. Tanay is a student and part of the studio. Tanay, I would like to understand what was the studio and what is the proposal all about?
So the studio was focused majorly on identifying different challenges in the informal community Banjarawas.
Okay.
And each one of us picked different strategies related to water, waste, healthcare, and different creating better open spaces. My project particularly dealt with creating better public open spaces, focusing with playscapes as an umbrella term and tackling heat as a climatic challenge.
Okay. So, are you intervening in their built environment as well as the community spaces within the settlement?
So, actually, yes. So, my project has 3 phases. The phase 1 is interacting with the community and identifying different pockets inside the community and the existing public open spaces that they use.
Okay.
And the phase 2 is like identifying them as well as placing quick to assemble play elements, shading elements made using bamboos and tires. Whereas the third one is a more permanent one, which uses landscaping as a shading technology, shading method, and mounts, swales, smaller water collection bodies, paved spaces. So it's a more permanent one, which would ask for more funding.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Tanay.
Thank you.
So that's the studio which is talking about design of community spaces, working with the community as the real stakeholders in the city. Another interesting studio that we are doing this semester is about talking about the urban landscape future. So these are fourth and fifth year students where they are looking at how can we create better public spaces which are not just aesthetically appealing, but they're also very productive and very active in nature. That's the kind of student output that comes. If I were to explain you the site, so we're looking at a site near Gandhinagar, where the students are looking at, in the time of this climate change and rapid urbanization, this particular studio looks at how can our landscape be more productive rather than just being aesthetic. So they're looking at this site, and the students come up with beautiful drawings and proposals for this particular studio. Yeah. So we have Prayush with us who will help us to understand this project. Hi Prayush. Can you explain us your design idea in this project?
Yeah, sure, sir. So my project, Seamless Tapestry Connecting Landscape and Community, focuses on dynamic yet underutilized site near Sabarmati River edge, and next to it is Sansaror Dam. The site is between Gandhinagar and Gift City and has a lot of urban potential, yet faces issues with accessibility and land degradation.
Okay.
So the design strategies include expansion of accessibility in terms of elevated trails, secondary and tertiary pathways, and a 36-meter wide bridge deck which connects the both river edges.
Okay.
Then I have dedicated productive farming spaces with sunflower and mustard, which helps in phytoremediation and stabilizes the slope. And over 2,000 trees were planted with 40 new species, which boosted ecological diversity. And then a dedicated cultural space near the river edge was also given to make sure that it plays an important role for the local people of Indroda in daily life.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
The drawings are really very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prayush.
Yeah.
So we look at one more studio which is living waterfronts. This particular studio is currently looking at the case of Tapi River in Surat. So the studio looks at the riverfront project of Surat, and the students have taken up a part of the overall river edge where they're studying the flora, fauna, hydrology, the town planning schemes, the slope and the contour, which is very important to design when we work with water. So this particular studio looks at riverfront, and students have their own idea of what can be various ways of doing riverfront in Indian context. So some of the examples are also looking at dense vegetation and more use of landscape to stabilize and to talk about the river edge condition. So depending on what is the context, the student come up with their own idea. After a lot of studies, they come up with their own ideas of what could be the edge condition. So that was the Surat studio. This is one more L3 level studio which looks at transit oriented development. So we're looking at two sites in Ahmedabad. We are looking at the Bhopal Amli corridor, and we are looking at the Motera Stadium precinct. So these are the two areas where we are looking at how can the cities now look at transit oriented development, where we are looking at the metro corridor as the catalyst for redevelopment which is happening here. So hi. So we would like to understand your project in more detail.
So yeah, hi, my name is Ramit Sinha and I'm a 5th year student. So in this studio, as sir mentioned that we have 2 sites, and since both the sites are so huge, so I personally had the site of ISKCON Amli Road, and it's a stretch of almost 3.2 kilometers long.
Okay.
So often in urban design, when the scale is so huge, we often have to work in groups. So it was a joint collaboration and efforts of almost 7 people.
Okay.
So we devised this framework plan along the ISKCON Amli main road. And the main idea was there's already an existing transit line. So how do we design along that, and how the development is happening vis-a-vis that.
Okay. So within that, you have taken up a precinct and developed a detailed
Yes.
idea of what kind of building should come up there and what kind of street design should happen.
Yes.
Okay, great. So so that's the Bhopal Amli project that he explained. In addition to that, as I said, we also have the Motera Stadium and its surrounding areas, where we are again looking at the metro corridor and what should be the kind of newer development that should happen there. So that was the transit-oriented development project. We have one more L3 studio where we are looking at the traditional city. So the previous project, while spoke about the modern city and the global ideas, here we are looking at the study of morphology. We are looking at traditional towns of India, and if we as an urban designer were to intervene in these traditional towns, what is the kind of study that needs to be done? What are the things that we want to take it forward? What are our traditional wisdom and learnings? And in this today's 21st century, the idea of aspiration for a better life, what is the kind of built environment that we are talking about? So this particular studio looks at the study of traditional towns and intervention within that. So the studio looks at the city of Jodhpur, and they studied the city of Jodhpur, and now they are trying to intervene within the old city, and so that's the kind of development that the students are proposing, that if we were to intervene in the traditional towns, what's the kind of development that we're looking at. As I said, that within the L3 level, which are the 4th and 5th year students, we also have a part of exchange program. So with us we have Dhyan. Hi Dhyan.
Hi.
So Dhyan was an exchange student. So can you please share your experience?
So I went to Paris
Okay.
in Ensa Malake, which was more of the Masters of Architecture course there. And the exchange went quite well for me. We kind of intervened with studios, mandatory courses, and when we talk about studio, our primary focus was on to looking at 2 French aspects.
Okay.
The primary one was the sol, which is ground, and the floor.
Okay.
While the other one was the toit, which means roof.
Okay.
So we were kind of deciphering and comparing 2 cities of Ahmedabad and Paris, how things were working out, and so on. And about talking about the mandatory courses, the first course was about the contemporary architecture.
Okay.
We went to various Paris museums, the like Centre Pompidou and all of those contemporary structures.
Okay.
We kind of decoded all of those elements, and then we focused on the global modernism, which was the second course.
Okay.
In which I researched on the African material mud mosque techniques and how sustainable focus was there.
Okay.
Later on, adding on to that experience, I traveled to 10 European countries.
Wow.
So which kind of gave an insight on to how things were working out. Like when I look at city of Amsterdam, it was full of canal, which played a role of cultural aspect. The second city when I talk about is the Rome, the historical landmark, and the Copenhagen, which primarily focused on urban designs, sustainable solutions to it.
Okay.
To sum up my 5 years of experience at CEPT, it was quite well for me, right from late night studios to support of faculty discussions.
Yes.
And great friendship, table tennis to balance out onto intense work and learning that we all have.
Sure.
And to after 5 years, I got placed by a placement cell at CEPT
Okay.
to Urban Smart Spaces, wherein I am applying my urban design and architectural skills to real world examples and so on.
Okay, it's great. I think it was very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dhyan.
Thank you.
So now I would like to introduce to Professor Rajiv Kadam. Professor Rajiv Kadam is the program coordinator for Bachelors in Urban Design. Welcome.
Yeah.
Would you like to add to
Yes.
this?
Thank you.
Yes.
I am Rajiv Kadam, Associate Professor and Program Coordinator at Bachelors in Urban Design. I hope you got a very good view of what the Bachelors in Urban Design program is and what kind of work students are doing. So students do a very hard work and rigorous work because that's what it makes a better professional. And because of that hard work, CEPT University has been recognized as a Center of Excellence by Government of India. So along with the hard work, CEPT University is a beautiful campus, is one of the finest designed by one of the greatest architect, Professor late B.V. Doshi. And students, along with studies, they are also involved and initiate activities, cultural activities, workshop, academic lectures, input, invite people from outside professionals to talk to them. So students are very active academically and culturally, and that's the part of learning what we believe in. So I look forward, I hope this helps you to take a decision to join these programs to build a brighter career in profession of urban design. If you have any queries on urban design, please visit our website or CEPT University admissions, and also visit the BUD page. Follow our Instagram also page, there's a lot of information. So there are more details about brochure, curriculum and other things. And also you can write to us on our email ID, which is there on the website, the CEPT admission office. Thank you so much and look forward to you.
Hello everyone. Welcome to online open day for Bachelors in Urban Design program at CEPT University. Today we are going to talk about our program, which is Bachelor